striking resident doctors in Nigeria are adamant in the face of a ruling by the National Industrial Court ordering them to suspend their strike. While the federal government hailed the verdicts, the National Association of Resident Doctors says it is yet to be served with the court papers, hence the strike will continue. Meanwhile, the Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has raised an alarm that 1,094 travelers from red-listed countries have absconded from COVID-19 isolation. Governor Sanwo-Olu says they are directly putting the rest of the country at risk of unending waves of the pandemic. Let's share the governor's story with you.
The test positivity rate, which measures how many tests are returning positive, is growing in number. Out of every 100 tests conducted, 12 returned positive, compared to 1.1% at the end of June 2021 and 7% at the end of July 2021. Also, in this third wave alone, 135 deaths have been recorded. These have emerged on account of non-adherence to the laid-down health protocols.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
And that is why Governor Sanwo-Olu is not keeping quiet. One of the major pillars of the state's mitigation strategy for the third wave is vaccination.
From Wednesday, on the 25th, we'll commence the vaccination at over 150 centers across the state. We'll also ensure that administration of this vaccine is based solely on appointments. The registration can be done online using the federal government vaccination portal, which is at nphcda.vaccination.gov.ng.
Lagos State has received its allocation of 299,992 doses of the Moderna vaccine on the 18th of August and set to roll out. No doubt that the confidence of people over the vaccination have dropped drastically due to reports that some fully vaccinated people have not just contracted the virus, but have reportedly died. But Governor Sanwo-Olu maintained that vaccinations plays a critical role of life-saving and to fight COVID-19.
In everything, there will still be a 0.something%, that will be off the track, and that's the kind of thing that we've noticed, right? So, and it's everywhere in the world, but we've seen, especially, and the data is there to prove that in countries where they've done extensive vaccination, the amount of positivity has gone down significantly.
Mr. Governor emphasized that passengers from red-listed countries like India, South Africa, Brazil, and Turkey are still required to observe a mandatory isolation.
The Moderna vaccine is a two-dose vaccine, just like the AstraZeneca that was deployed during the first phase of vaccination. Now, people that have taken AstraZeneca as their first jabs cannot mix it up with Moderna as their second jab. Vaccination remains free in Nigeria. The Lagos State government's goal is to vaccinate 60% of its residents in good time. Adedoja Salam Adeniyi, TVC News, Lagos.
Today, let's start with the striking doctors. Now, the federal government, they've decided to, okay, let's withdraw from the negotiation table and let's go to the National Industrial Courts. And if the National Industrial Courts is ordering the resident doctors to suspend their strike, and they're saying they're yet to be served, or after getting this order, I'm sure in the next 24, 48 hours, they will be served. They have an obligation to go back. Is there to work or negotiation table?
Well, Labour has a history of refusing to obey especially when it makes up its mind to strike. Labour has a history of refusing to listen to the industrial court. Oshiomhole did it many times. Yeah. Oshiomhole, even the immediate past leader of Labour, because government moved, if you remember the last strike by Labour, government moved quickly to block that strike at the last minute by going to the industrial court. But Labour insisted that no, it was going to continue a strike. And by the time they went on strike, they got some concession, no matter how little. Strike is the only language that Nigerian officials understand. And there is a sense that sometimes the industrial court can be used to take away that right. Labor has the right to go on strike. It's one of the weapons available to labor. Strike is one of the weapons, and it is a legal weapon.
Legal.
All over the world, it is admitted that you can go on strike as long as you serve the notice, and that notice is not too short, so they can go on strike. But in our country, sometimes at the last minute, you have not done what you have they have asked you to do. You then will proceed to the industrial court and get an injunction. It's an injunction that we are talking about now. It's not really that, okay, labor, in this case, the resident doctors have been found to have infringed on any law. It's an injunction. You can't just stop people from exercising their rights. Yesterday, I was looking at I even showed Engineer Ni. The Saudi Arabians have come here. The Saudis, they've come to Nigeria. Yeah. They are looking for consultants, senior people. It is in Abuja that they are going to conduct that test. They are not looking for junior doctors anymore. It's the very senior,
the experience.
Yes, that they want. And when they listed the areas where they want specialists, I said, who will be left?
There are so many Nigerian doctors in Saudi Arabia.
Yes,
it has been for years.
Many
Hall. That's where they will gather to tell you there's a large crowd that they expect. They are going to do tests for people.
And to even tell you that they are also not expecting to recruit low quality people.
No, they said consultants. They mentioned it. Senior people.
It should tell you that they are going to go.
Now, for that fact that the industrial court has ruled again or has issued this injunction and that has been disobeyed before, should we make it right for these people to continue their strike?
Well, it doesn't make it right. Let's
the court should be the court.
Let's agree on that. But like BKO said, something is certain here. The only language we appear to understand in this country is strike. I think it's good. Let me read what the president of the Nigerian Medical Association said on this strike. He said the problem we face is that when agreements are signed, everybody goes to sleep. So there is distrust among workers. And it is not good for the country because we expect that those who work for our president should be truthful, honest, and should comply with agreements. It is the same issue we have been having.
The same with ASU.
The same with ASU. So what I see in all of this, if you ask me, is that this government especially thrives more on talking than on the action. So they put in people who have sugar-coated mouth. Somebody like Ngige, Chris Ngige, the minister of, I think it was purposely put there, so that when he comes out of a meeting, he can bamboozle the whole country. And then at the end of the day, what happens?
Dish out threats.
Yes, nothing happens. He just comes and talks for us, and then nothing happens. Before you sign an agreement, you should be able to plan. If I'm promising you 1 naira, I should
be able to go back to say,
do you have the funds to
manage? Yes, I should even have a projection. Let us assume I don't even have it. There should be a projection that this is going to come in. And when it comes in, nobody in that setup, because when you go for these meetings, you always have people from budget office, you have from Ministry of Finance, you have from, all of them are there. So if they are there and then somebody says, I'm going to block this because of this, and you have already agreed with somebody, a promise is a debt. You don't promise people what you, if indeed, like it happened on some occasions, the workers can clearly see that this government is working towards this thing and not just mouthing it. There will be some concession. But this is a matter of this thing is not even available.
Don't forget they even called off the last one.
Yes.
They called it off.
And then
they suspended the strike. They suspended the strike on April 10. Since April 10, we have done nothing. Now. There were promises made that we refused to fulfill. In the case of ASU, ASU had 8 demands. Out of the 8 demands, That was in December.
In December of
out of
2020.
Yes, out of the 8 demands, we have only met 2.
That's partially, not fully.
That is the issue of visitation panels to universities.
Fully.
Yes, and then the issue of salary adjustment. A backlog of unpaid salary. They met those 2.
But some are still complaining that backlog, there are still names.
So there are still 6 demands that you did not touch. Now those ones 2 are threatening strike.
I have Raji from Ikorodu.
AYO, good evening, please.
Good evening, Raji.
Regards to DKO and Saturday there.
Okay.
Please, one thing I would have, there are 2 issues. Are you with me?
Yes, go ahead.
2 issues. One is concerning this insecurity. Yoruba says, Yoruba planning to do the planning. I want to believe that there are informants from among Nigerians who are giving these people information.
Yes.
That's one. And unless we go the way the Emir of Muri has done, we will not be able to. Mayati, they know them. We should hold Mayati to feed them out for us. That's one. Secondly, concerning this doctor strike, I don't know why people are playing with our lives for crying out loud. The lawmakers, those who are up there, they don't attend government-owned hospital for crying out loud. These doctors are there. You know how important people's lives are. These are the simple that when the time for election comes, you expect them to come and queue in the sun and the rain to vote for people to make you comfortable. Now the time has come for you to make them comfortable, you refuse to.
Thank you, Raji.
If I was a doctor, for example, working in Abia State, and one of the demands that we made was that my 19-month salary should be paid. And nobody is even talking about that one. They are not even talking about it.
At all.
Now, will I feel comfortable to simply go back to work? So what have you gained?
Nothing.
Pressure was piled on judiciary and legislative workers. They stood firm. They said no.
Too soon.
In this country, a president issued an executive order. The governors went to him after issuing the executive order and told him, don't gazette it. They made sure that it was not implemented. It took strike.
Yeah.
It took strike by judiciary workers. They locked everywhere. Even Supreme Court, they refused to open. It took strike for them now to say, okay, we agree. We are now going to give autonomy to the legislative arm of government as well as the judiciary. So that's to tell you that unless you go on strike, nobody will
listen to
anything about your demands.
In spite of this strike and in spite of the fact that all is not well with our health sector, some irresponsible travelers, I'll say, 1,094 from the red listed countries have absconded.
Are we sure that is the whole number?
There could be more than that.
There
should be more than that.
Because you see, clearly we know that the way we handle issues of statistics in this country is poor. Last year, I have someone who came in from the UK. He went back this year. And a few days after, fortunately or unfortunately for him, he went out of his gate. Then those who came to check were at his door. And they called him. Where are you?
In Nigeria here?
In the UK.
Oh.
Went back and he went out of his gate.
People came to check.
They were monitoring
the neighborhood. And then he called, where are you? He said, I'm just outside the gate. Are you supposed to be outside the gate? The next time you try it, you're going to be in trouble.
I'm going to jail.
He didn't go
it's here in Nigeria that people can do those things.
So we shouldn't.
It's here in Nigeria.
We make it look like as if these things are rocket science. They're not.
How is it enforced in other places that we can't enforce it? How does Rwanda do it?
Just out of his gates.
You are not even going to be allowed to stay in the hotel of your choice in Rwanda. You won't. You won't. Whether you've come for tourism or you will not go to the hotel of your choice. There are designated hotels that they will put you. You will not choose a driver, your own favorite driver. They will give you the taxi that will take you around, and you will not go out until they subjected you to a test.
I thought they were like shortlisting and blacklisting some passport numbers. At the point in time that if you...
No, they were boasting that, look, this thing, that they are going to, some people, we have their own passports. what we are seeing is a case of people getting away with blue murder in our country. What you are supposed to do, you refuse to do, and the system will not catch you. That's what we are seeing. The governor said absconded.
Because there is no
That
penalty.
means they've escaped.
They
will escape with their passports, they will escape. It's in our country that people will, for just a few words of naira notes, people who allow others to endanger the lives of the rest of us. I mean, it makes no sense. When there was curfew, we saw people here in Lagos going to nightclubs, and they were arrested. If it was in UK or Italy, they would not dare it. They won't dare it.
They won't even go out.
It's in our country that people come and trample on our laws.
It's not even eating again now. Families of some prominent Nigerians that we've lost some other people.
Many of them.
Yeah, they are coming out to say, look, this person died of COVID-19.
Yes, like at least the Faweme family now, they admitted it.
Yes,
that was what killed them.
was the one that spoke on behalf.
Even the latest one,
Yes.
the family of Senator Duja said, be aware, be cautious. There is COVID.
No.
And some people died outrightly in the isolation center.
Yes.
Like the senator
So
last week.
even the figure that was given by the governor of the number of people who have died so far, if you move a bit back, the commissioner said, was it last week, that about 500, that was the figure he gave, meaning that outside this third wave, if we look at it for a few months now, it's over 500.
All right.
We're going to go that way.